Domino's Pizza is a fast food chain that puts the fast in fast food. Or at least they used to. Back in the 70s and 80s, they used to guarantee your pizza would be delivered within 30 minutes, and if it wasn't, you'd get it for free. Then, in 1990, Domino's was involved in a massive lawsuit after a speeding delivery driver killed a woman, allegedly as he desperately tried to deliver an order within the company's time limit, and Domino's dropped the 30-minute guarantee shortly after. But that was not the only incident of grief caused by Domino's commitment to speedy delivery. Back in 1986, when they still upheld their 30-minute guarantee, Domino's created the Noid, a mascot for the chain. Or really an anti-mascot, like the Hamburglar. While the Hamburglar was always trying to steal hamburgers, the greedy bastard, the Noid was a much more chaotic character, aiming to disrupt the delivery of pizzas for seemingly no benefit to himself.
The Noid loves to ruin pizza.
The Noid was like Domino's Joker. His motivations were known only to himself. Or perhaps he didn't even know why he reveled in the destruction of pizza. Maybe he was more a force of nature than a philosophical opponent to pizza, who knows. Whatever the case, it was clear the Noid was mentally unhinged. And Domino's adopted the catchphrase, "Avoid the Noid," to signal their stalwart resistance against the Noid. But much like the bat signal, this catchphrase caught the attention of more than one mentally unwell individual. 22-year-old Kenneth Lamar Noid, guess his last name was Noid, became convinced that Domino's had created the Noid character specifically to mock him, and the "Avoid the Noid" catchphrase was the company's way of telling people to steer clear of Noid, or Kenneth. Now, assumedly, Domino's had no idea this man even existed, but Kenneth was convinced that the Domino's founder had some sort of personal vendetta against him, and was breaking into his apartment and snooping around for details of his life that he could use to further taunt him through the Noid commercials. I suppose that would only make sense if Kenneth also did not like pizza, but, well, it doesn't make sense, does it? Kenneth was obviously highly paranoid, Lord forgive me. The feud between Kenneth Lamar Noid and Domino's, which existed only in Kenneth's mind, escalated until it reached its boiling point on the 30th of January 1989. At a Domino's restaurant in Chamblee, Georgia, Kenneth Lamar Noid walked in the door armed with a .357 Magnum. He ranted at the two employees about how Domino's had stolen his name and was ceaselessly antagonizing him before making some demands. He wanted to talk with the Domino's founder, he wanted $100,000, and he wanted a vehicle for his getaway. A white limousine. I'm sure that would make a great getaway car, alright. The employee called the only Domino's number he knew that was guaranteed to get picked up, the safety hotline. When he explained what was happening to the woman on the other end, she didn't seem to take it seriously, until she heard Kenneth fire 2 shots into the ceiling. The two employees were held hostage for 5 hours, during which police showed up outside and called into the restaurant to negotiate. Kenneth said he'd let an employee go if the police brought him a copy of the 1985 novel, The Widow's Son. The police gave Kenneth the novel, but he then decided he would not release a hostage as he had promised. Eventually, during the 5-hour ordeal, Kenneth became hungry. In this respect, he had chosen the perfect place to stage a hostage crisis. The employees cooked up some pizza for him, and he happily ate it. So, I guess he didn't have pizza hating in common with the Noid. Maybe his issue was that he felt the Noid was a gross misrepresentation of his character. I don't know. While he was eating, the two employees made good on Domino's devotion to avoiding the Noid, and they left. Just like the Noid mascot, Kenneth Lamar Noid had been foiled by a Domino's pizza. With no hostages, he was forced to surrender peacefully. He was charged with kidnapping, aggravated assault, extortion, and possession of a firearm during a crime. In a bizarre and amazing twist, however, he was found not guilty. Why? Because it turned out Domino's really did have it in for him, and the founder had devised a mascot that shared his name after an adverse encounter earlier in life. No, I'm just kidding. Kenneth was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Quelle surprise. Subsequently, Kenneth Lamar Noid spent time in a mental institution, but died by his own hand in 1995. This dark and sad ordeal coincided with Domino's phasing out of the Noid mascot, but the company has denied any correlation. Usage of the mascot remained dormant for about 20 years, when he started making occasional brief appearances again. Recently, Domino's confirmed his return, but the Noid is nowhere near as prevalent in their promotions as he was in the 80s. If you really think about it though, in the lore that Domino's themselves constructed, is the Noid not more prevalent than ever? Since Domino's doesn't have the same commitment to speedy delivery as they used to, and as far as I can tell, there's nothing particularly speedy about their delivery now at all, does that not mean that the Noid is out there impeding their deliveries? Like Domino's had the upper hand back when they were still doing the 30-minute guarantees, but now he's won and the deliveries are slower, so they don't talk about him anymore. Kinda like the war on drugs. Maybe I'm mistaken, I can only speak for the speed of Domino's deliveries here in Ireland, and while the pizza is always warm, it's not delivered particularly quickly. The only standout feature of the Domino's delivery here is that it's available late into the night when everywhere else is closed, so I only ever really order it when I'm in a state where I think cheeseburger pizza sounds like a good idea. I was in a similar state when I wrote this entire outro. What in God's name am I talking about? Until next time, stay safe. Own hand in 1995. This dark and Eventually during the 5-hour ordeal, Kenneth became hungry. In this respect, he had chosen the perfect place to stage a hostile. Eventually during the 5-hour This is gonna turn into a fucking 5-hour ordeal if I don't get it right.